that performance is up there with the best half that I think we played all season. So I'd probably go for that one.
Nice. So it's not that you get to spend time with your son on the road?
No.
Fair enough.
Of course.
Touche.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. Now, we are midway through the EFL League One season. Birmingham City have now played 23 games at the time of recording, and we thought that's a good opportunity for us to have a midpoint review of the season so far. And that's what we're going to talk about in this podcast and have a chat really about thoughts on the season so far. And the way we're going to do this is that I've got a number of questions that Matt doesn't know about, which he will in a minute, that I'm going to ask him. And that's going to form the basis of the podcast. But before I do that, man, ask you the first question. Any general feelings or thoughts about the season so far?
No, just I'm ecstatic with the way it's going. I know it hasn't been perfect. I know, we can always have constructive criticism about performances and, could we be shifting the ball quicker and being more clinical? I get that. But overall here, the goal for this club is to get back into the Championship. Yeah. And we've just exited the Christmas period, top of the league. We've got a fantastic squad, a fantastic fan base. Now we've got great owners who are investing in Blues. And overall, I couldn't be happier. And, I just can't wait to keep moving now. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get back into the Championship for next season. As champions, cherry on top would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I must admit, I think that Blues, the football, the team have exceeded my expectations because it was very easy. Everyone thinks, it's all about the money, but you try and assemble a team of 17, 18 new players that have not played together as a team before. It takes time, I expected a bit of clunkiness, and we have seen that in tiny little phases through the season. But I think we're ahead of where I thought we would be. Obviously, we are top of the league at the time of recording, and we do, and we've had some exceptionally good results. But for me, I think we're above where in terms of the level of play and the way the team are playing, better than I thought we would be.
And before we get into your questions, Ed, I just want to reiterate, there seems to be this thing a little bit about amongst the Blues fans about, everything has to be happy-clappy and you can't criticise or any to do anything. I think you have to be entitled to your opinion as a football fan, especially as a Blues fan. We are quite a polarising club at League One level. We do seem to aggravate every club we play against on social media.
We have done anyway for years.
But my point is, though, if you have an opinion, it's perfectly valid. It doesn't matter whether it's overly positive or overly negative. If it's your opinion, you're fully entitled to it. And I think that's really important to reiterate, especially as a channel that we host, which is for the fans, from the fans. That's kind of our motto, isn't it? We want people to engage with each other. We want to be respectful in the comment section, of course. But, if you have an opinion, don't ever be scared to voice it or share it because it's valid. And, you have people who are half glass full, you have people who are glass half empty. There's no right or wrong. Keep sharing your opinions. Absolutely.
And if everybody was happy clappy, what a boring word to say, wouldn't it? I mean, it would sort of like limit our podcast as well and every other YouTube channel who does these type of podcasts as well, because it is all about opinion and it is okay for people to have different opinions.
Of course it is.
I do think the problem arises the way sometimes people put that opinion across sometimes if they're aggressive or insulting or, that type of thing is not acceptable. And as you know, we don't accept that on this channel anyway. But, we get comments from people on our videos all the time and you can have a look at our videos. We don't delete any comments if somebody disagrees with us. That's absolutely fine. So it's a case of, if you got your opinion, that's absolutely fine. And that surely is what football is all get this banter, isn't it?
100%. Well? Let's get into your questions then, Dad, I'm really intrigued.
The first question is a little bit related to what we've just spoken about a little bit, but if I was to ask you at this point in time, after 23 games in League One now that we've played, how would you rate our season on a scale of 1 to 10?
9. What would 10 be winning every single game, which would be completely unrealistic? Yeah. The reason why I picked 9 is because I'm ecstatic. I'm loving this season, but there's always room for improvement. Yeah. We could be finishing teams off more. We could be shifting the ball quicker. The biggest improvement which I've seen this season, especially in the past 10, 11 games, is our defence. Yeah. Our defensive record is absolutely outstanding. So, I'm going to be really glass half full here. I'm going to go for a 9. I'm going to throw it back to you, Dad. What's your rating?
I'd go for an 8. Again, it's high. It's very high. I think that you can't argue with our league position. Fine, it ticks a lot of boxes. You can't be high on top. But I just think that like you said, this where there's a space for improvement is where I've gone for an 8 because I'd like to see a continued evolution on the pitch in terms of more understanding and the development of our style of play and stuff like that. And we have lost lost some games that we shouldn't have lost as well. So yeah, 8 is still very, very high for me. But I think I've gone for 8 out of 10 because, like you, pretty much what you've said, it's the same sort of room for improvement as well. But it'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are, Blues fans, as well. Put it in the comments below. Out of 10, what do you think our what do you think you'd score us at the moment?
And also, I think why I've gone for a 9 is because I'm not just putting it about the football on the pitch. I'm talking about merchandise in the shop. I'm talking about the beer in the stadium, the match day experience. I'm talking about absolutely everything which involves this club now. When you think about our ownership, where we are in the table, the recruitment we've had, Chris Davis now at the wheel, when you include everything that we have at our club, especially compared to last season, we can't complain, can we? It is outstanding.
8 or 9 out of 10 is pretty high, isn't it? So I think that's pretty good as well. Okay, so if I ask you this second question, if I asked you so far for this half season to pick just one highlight of the season so far, what would that highlight be?
Is it a goal? Is it a game? Or
whatever
just,
you want.
Just take it as you want.
Whatever you want.
Well, we've spoken about this quite a lot, Dad. My highlight so far is Wickham away because the sun was shining. We had a couple of beers. It was the noisiest away end I've been at so far this season. We won 3-2. And again, as the season's progressed, it showed how much of a good 3 points that was away at Wickham.
Yeah.
You know what, Dad? I could pick 5. You put me on the spot. I could pick 5 or 6.
That's why I didn't pick 5 or 6. Because we need to pick one.
But I am going to nail it down to Wickham away as my number 1. But in the interest of just a balance here, if I'm going to pick a home memory, Wrexham at home for me was outstanding as well. So for me, Wickham away, Wrexham at home.
Yeah, okay. I again had a number of things that I could have picked in this. The Stano, signing was a big surprise to us all. I think as well. That was a big plus.
That moment where Wagner moves in his chair like that is just it still gives me goosebumps.
Absolute class. To me the Wigan injury time winner at home early in the season was spectacular. The atmosphere, the place just completely exploded. Love that as well. Love the experience in the fan park. We went there for the first time, so well done to the Blues for that. That was good as well, wasn't
Boxing
it?
Day beers,
but I'm gonna say that my favourite experience or highlight so far was when we beat Rotherham 2-0 away. I think that first half was outstanding, and the feeling that the reason I picked it as a highlight is because I felt. After that first half, I felt we really are a team here. I actually felt for the first time convinced that something big's happening. I know we've had blips after that along the way, of course we have, but to me, that performance is up there with the best half that I think we played all season. So I'd probably go for that one.
Nice. So it's not that you get to spend time with your son on the road?
No.
Fair enough.
Of course.
Touche.
Of course, I love that, and that's part and parcel of obviously our relationship, isn't it? And the benefit that we get from doing this and from going to the matches together.
I was joking, but to add to that, having beers together, going to the new grounds together, it is great, isn't it? Getting
it is. Even the coach, I love the coach as well. Having chats and stuff like that. So it's really, really nice. Okay, this is going to be a tough question now. This next one. Okay, and again, as we're doing these questions, Blues fans, if you want to add your responses to the questions in the comments below,
I think I know it. I've got a feel. Is this question who's been your most impressive player this year?
No, it's not actually.
No.
So here's the third question. So who do you think is Blues' best player this season? No. What I've done here, because there's so many, I'm going to allow you, and I'm going to do the same as well, to do a 1, 2, 3. So you can say who's third, second, and first.
Ooh.
And by the way, Matt didn't know anything about these questions, so he's not had any chance to prepare for these. So
okay. So in number 3, I think Paik has been absolutely outstanding. His link-up play. I mean, it's easy to pick the strikers, isn't it? It's easy to go for Alfie May, Stansfield, the people who score the goals. Oh, Keshi Anderson. Oh, I don't.
This is why I put you on the spot.
It's so difficult. Okay. I'm gonna have to change it around because he's got to go in there, hasn't he? I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go Paik and Keshi Anderson joint third.
No, it's got to be 3-2-1.
Okay, I'll go Paik.
Yeah.
Number 3. Then I'll go Keshi Anderson number 2, and that surprises me because I didn't think he was going to have the season in which he's been having. And number 1, I'm going to go for Clara, because I think Clara has been absolutely outstanding. And of course, I've missed out Cochrane, who I love. I'd probably put him in the top 3 if I probably had more chance to really break it down and think about it. But yeah, Clara's number 1 for me. I think Clara is the brick wall. he's the reason why our defence has been so. I like Ben Davies.
I know.
It really is
Yeah,
impossible.
I know.
But yes, okay. Paik, Keshi Anderson, and Clara.
Is number one. It is tough, isn't it? I've prepared these questions, but I honestly have not done any major thought into any of these myself. But it'd be easy to look at like the Alfie Mays, the Jay Stansfield, the goal scorers, and they're brilliant players, aren't they?
Yeah.
Williamson's had outstanding games. Keshi Anderson's been brilliant, but all minor defenders.
Yeah.
Okay. So third, I'm going for Cochrane. Absolutely love that guy. I think he's been immense. I do.
Agree.
Absolutely fantastic. He's been my third. Now, number two, this guy would not have been here a couple of months ago. It's Ben Davies.
Right.
I just love the no nonsense.
I agree.
Don't mess around. If the ball needs booting, I'm going to boot it. If I need to play, I need to play. And he's the big reason that we've tightened up at the back. Okay, and of course my number one is also Clara as well.
Yeah, Clara is just immense, isn't it?
But you know what? You could overthink this question. Which I only went 3-2-1 and asked you 3-2-1 because you could think about this question and think, like you were saying, what about this and what about that?
What's that? Stansfield, May.
I know
It's mad. It is mad.
Absolutely. Even Allsop, he's been outstanding, hasn't he, since he came in? But that'd be my three. I've gone for defenders because I just think that they are the backbone of the team, aren't they?
Also, with our defensive record recently, why not pick defenders? We've conceded 2 goals in 9 games.
Yeah,
we've kept 11 with 7 clean sheets out of 9 games. Absolutely phenomenal. So,
but I'm like you though. Alfie May and Stansfield, I love them all to bits. I absolutely do.
For me, I think Keshi Anderson, just for the way he stepped up this season, I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. A lot of our danger this season when he's been on the pitch has came from his right hand side, hasn't it? I mean, but completely appreciate those defenders because they were outstanding. I didn't put Cochrane in. I love Cochrane. In fact, earlier in the season, he was up there with my favourite signing. So it just shows how competitive it is, doesn't it?
It is.
I'd love to know Blues fans.
Yeah. Let us know your top 3 players so far this season in the comments below. It'd be great to get your opinions as well. Next question, Matt. This is the 4th question. It's only got 6, but this is the 4th question.
Yeah.
What's been your most disappointing moments of the season so far?
You know it, don't you? Northampton. I think it has to be. I think because the nature of it, last kick of the game, Hail Mary from them, hoofed up, a few little errors at the back. Yeah, that was so disappointing. I mean, I actually didn't make that game. I was poorly. I was in bed, and I think I threw my iPad out the window. I was just absolutely fuming. So, I mean, it wasn't even fuming, actually. It was just, I don't want to be over-exaggerating. I mean, Blues fans will get it. It's an emotion, gut-wrenching.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely killed me off. So if I'm going to pick my most disappointing, I think it's going to be Northampton at home.
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of people's actually. It was between that and I think I was really disappointed when we sent Ollie Burt back. I think that was a bit. So I'm joking. Okay, but that to me it's a Northampton game as well because it was like throwing 2 points down the toilet, wasn't it? We dominated the game, missed chances, and we let them back in towards the end of the game because they had other chances as well. But when that goal went in, it was literally the last kick of the game, and it didn't give us any chance or any time to get back in. And you used the word gut wrenching. It was like that.
It was.
Oh no, that's 2 points down the toilet, isn't it?
It's like someone punched you in the stomach.
Yeah,
it was horrible. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, Dad, we've had an exceptional season so far, but 2 rivals to that: Charlton away and Shrewsbury away.
Shrewsbury was terrible.
But there's something about the nature of a 90+6 minute at home equaliser, which is just a gut punch. So, Northampton for me takes it. Yeah,
I mean, Shrewsbury's worth mentioning because I still now scratch my head and wonder how we lost that game. Well, I know how we lost it because we were not at the races. We lost it because of that, and we just let them play. And they, but when I look at their results after that, I mean, they have tightened up a little bit of late.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't have lost that game. We shouldn't have lost that game. And I just find that staggering.
I mean, and in terms of coach journeys home, Charlton, that was a killer. We lost. The lights went out on the motorway home. It was just really depressing, wasn't it? And we've had a couple of bad memories so far, but for me, Northampton takes it.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so my 5th question is, and this is again a 3-2-1 question.
Yeah.
Who do you think has underperformed so far this season?
That's a really difficult question. Okay, so number 3, I'm going to go Hansen. And people might think that's a little bit harsh. And I do agree. Hansen's not done massive amounts wrong, but he also hasn't set the world alight. And because we've got such a good team, I think when people aren't putting in amazing performances, they can kind of fly under the radar a little bit, can't they? So for me, I think Hansen sadly does take that. I think that might be a bit harsh, but for me, I'll put Hansen in the 3rd spot. 2nd spot is Dykes. I would say Lyndon Dykes. And if you watch this podcast, I'm a fan of Dykes. I've backed him a few times. I quite like the way he disrupts. But the last couple of games, especially, he's been very underwhelming. He's a target man. He's supposed to win his aerial battles. He's supposed to be a disruptor. We spoke about that guy at Stockport, Dad. What was his name again? That player up front for Stockport who was like a nuisance all game. I forgot his name.
I can't remember.
Yeah, anyway, you know who we're talking about. That guy up front for Stockport who was causing a nuisance. We want Dykes to be a bit more like that.
Yeah.
And for me, number one, and probably, again, a bit harsh because he hasn't played for some time, would probably be Bailey Peacock-Farrell, just for those early errors he made a bit earlier on in the season. We knew, didn't we, in our first sort of 10, 15 games, we were going to go 1 or 2 down, and it was whether we could claw it back. And a lot of those errors were down to him. Again, I feel a bit harsh with this question, picking those players, but I think I'll stand by that. Hansen, Dykes and Bailey Peacock-Farrell.
I think it's a fair question. I think it's right to look at the squad that we've got. And we're not slating players here.
No.
And we're not saying that any of these are bad players, by the way. We're just saying who has disappointed you the most, because every team's going to have them. So it's okay looking at all the good stuff, but, we need to sort of balance it a little bit and say, well, actually, maybe there are some players. And I think your choices are not bad ones, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't picked Hansen in my bottom 3, but I see where you're coming from. I think that he's clearly a player that, again, has ability, but like we were speaking about with Laird until the last game, his output's not where it needs to be, in terms of not supply and stuff like that, but good player.
I feel harsh picking Hansen, but because our squad has been so good,
Yeah.
I think he's kind of gone under the radar a little bit, and he has been injured in his defence as well. So a harsh pick, I'll put my hands up on that, but I think... Yeah, over the course of the team, we have such a high calibre and standard now. He hasn't quite gone to the bar that the other players have from it.
Yeah. I've gone for Bailey Peacock-Farrell as well as my number 3. I think that, you always can tell as a fan how you react when a player is on the pitch. And every time and I think, partly he was the goalkeeper at the start of the season. I think he lost his confidence and that didn't do him any favours. And every time he was on the pitch and the ball came in, we was all like really nervous, weren't we?
Yeah.
And that would have gone down to him, who'd have felt it on the pitch. So it's a two-way thing, but he has underperformed in my opinion. And obviously he's now the number 2. Allsop's been outstanding since he came in. Well, he was a bit dodgy for the first few games, but he's really, after he came in first, but Allsop is a good goalkeeper.
Outstanding.
Yeah, but Bailey Peacock-Farrell is definitely one that has disappointed me. Hope if he does get an opportunity, he can obviously start to sort of get back to the goalkeeper. No, he can be. Yeah, cool. Anybody puts the shirt on, we're going to back.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me is Luke Harris.
Luke Harris?
Yeah.
Have I missed him out?
Yeah, I mean, again, he's a player that's young. You can see that he's got lots of ability, but he's just not quite there just yet. He's a big favourite of Chris Davies. He gets picked a lot, and but to me, he's energetic, he's pacey, but his decision making is what lets him down. And I just don't think he's contributed enough so far. When he's had the opportunity, but not disputing the fact that I clearly see in the future that he's going to be a very, very good player. But just at the moment, I just don't think he's performing to his best.
I'm swapping Hansen for Luke Harris. I forgot about him.
Yeah, and my number 1 would be Dykes as well. Again, I just think that, and we've mentioned this in podcasts before, is that I think our style of play doesn't suit him. He's a target man. He's a striker that you need to get the ball often in the air to. We don't play that stuff. We don't put loads of crosses into the box. So, but when he has got the ball, he doesn't hold up the ball enough for me. He's not like Yuki. Yuki's like Velcro. The ball will stick to him.
And he wins everything.
He wins, yeah, but that's not what Dykes does. And Dykes needs goals as well. I know that he was fairly well respected at Queen's Park Rangers, and he hasn't really, apart from 2 goals he scored for us, hasn't he? One in the EFL Trophy against Fulham under-21s and the other against Blackpool in the FA Cup. So he's not scored in the league, but then he's not starting that many games. But then you could say he's not starting that many games because he's not showing enough in the first place. So that'll be my 3.
I agree with you. You've said this on a previous podcast. Dykes is kind of a victim of the system he's playing in.
Yeah.
And that's a bit harsh in some regards because we're not playing. Dykes would do well in a Wrexham or somewhere where you just lump in long balls. Well, he'd do better for sure. No one's guaranteed goals. You've got to earn every goal you score, haven't you? But I think he would do better in a team that play a bit more direct. But we have gone direct in the last couple of games, and he still isn't winning his aerial battles. No. Just an observation. I'm not going to jump on a bandwagon. I agree with.
I'm like all Blues fans. If a player puts on a Blues shirt, he's going to get more support, no matter who they are. But I think with Lyndon Dykes, he needs to show a little bit more now. So we need to take those opportunities. And I think we've seen in the past he can score goals. I remember goals he scored against us in the past. He scored one free kick last season or the season before down the Tilton end. Really good goal. I mean, it really should have saved it, to be honest, but it was still a good goal.
One recent game, Dad, really, really quickly, because I know we've got one final question. Stockport at home on the 4th of December in the second half. He was outstanding. He came on, he was physical, he was winning his battles, he linked up the play. That's the Dykes we want to see. We just haven't seen enough of it so far this season.
Yeah. And these players, you know, they've obviously got ability. They just need to show a little bit more, I think. I think most Blues fans would probably agree with those choices.
I agree, yeah.
And the final question, and it's really what you feel is the best team performance so far this season. If you could think of a match, it's home or away, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, that's a good question. I think you mentioned earlier Rotherham away was a good one because we just looked complete. I've never seen a Blues team control a game that much. We were completely in control. Wrexham at home was good as well.
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm going to go for Rotherham away just for the control we had.
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't a performance that was going to set fireworks off or anything like that. It wasn't like an outstanding performance where we were attack, but it was a performance where I looked at, and I think you said it earlier, we just dominated, complete control. And this is when I knew Chris Davies was onto something in his style of play. And that was the moment of realisation where I thought, we're going to do well this season. So for me, slightly an underwhelming one I probably appreciate for different reasons. Rotherham away for me.
Yeah, and that's Stano got the 2 goals, didn't he, against Rotherham? And I'm going to pick that as well. I've already mentioned that game as well.
It got one.
Sorry, yes, we did, and Stano did that lob over the goalkeeper. It was just such a dominant performance in that first half, and to me, that's going to be up there. But I agree with you, Wrexham was good. I'll tell you another performance I was really, really pleased with was the last game away at Wigan.
Yeah, agreed.
Again, that weren't a perfect performance by any means because we let them in and gave them chances, but that was good as well. But if I had to pick a best performance, it would be. But it's only half a game because I think in the second half we took the gas off, didn't we? Against but
even still, complete control. Like they didn't threaten our goal at all in that game. I mean, they had a couple of corners, but Well,
Wrexham was good because the hype, the
atmosphere was good as well.
Yeah, and we were goal down as well inside 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And we came back, brilliant atmosphere. Obviously, a lot of hype of the David Beckham was there and Rob McElhaney was there from Wrexham and stuff like that. So, but I'm still going to pick the Rotherham performance as the best performance, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Just before I finish as well, just to remind Blues fans of where we are currently in this season. So we're 23 games in now, so obviously we've played half of our 46. We're top of the league, 2 points ahead of Wickham with a game in hand and 2 points ahead of Wrexham with 2 games in hand. And in 4th place with 23 games played, same as us, but 9 points behind us are Huddersfield. So there's a little bit of daylight there. We're second as we stand currently in the form table, believe it or not, behind Leyton Orient, based upon the last 6 games.
They're on fire, aren't they?
We've got the 3rd best home record in the whole league. So we've got equal, played 11 games, 27 points, as have Reading 11. Wrexham have played 14 games. They've played 3 more home games than us, and they've got 38 points. So they're exceptionally good at home, aren't they? In terms of away form, we are second behind Wickham, who, in fact, actually, Wickham have played 13 and 27 points. We've only played 12 and 26 points. So if we win that extra game in hand, we'll be top of the away table. We've got the 2nd best offence, so we score the 2nd highest amount of goals in the league. Us and Peterborough score 41. Wickham are top with 50. And then we've got the best defence. So we've conceded 17 goals in 23 games. Wrexham have conceded 18 in 25. Huddersfield 19 in 23. So all the stats across the board, it's green lights. It's green lights across the board. Chris Davies has the highest win percentage. So if I go back to 22-23 season, John Eustace had a 30% win percentage. In the following season, 23-24, Eustace had a 45% win ratio. Rooney, 13% win ratio. Mowbray, 25%, but that's including the games that Mark Venus was in charge as well.
Right.
Okay. And then Rowett had a 38% win percentage based upon the games he was in charge of, and then Chris Davies 68%.
Staggering, isn't it?
It is. That's a staggering difference.
That is staggering.
Our top-rated players. This is according to FootMob. Okay, they rate the players overall the season. Who do you think our highest-rated overall player is so far this season?
Rated.
Yeah. So they give a rating out of 10. So. This is not in any individual game. This is on average. It's a hard question.
Clara?
No, it's actually, believe it or not, it's actually Ryan Alsop.
Right.
He's got a rating. And this is FootMob, and you can get different ratings from different
That
websites.
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, 7.46. And you've got Christian Bielek, 7.45. Then Iwata, 7.41.
I
Then
find
you've
that
got,
staggering though, because Bielek in the past couple of games has been pretty poor.
it depends on what metric you're using,
Yeah.
but also as well, it's looking at the whole of those 23 games, not looking at like last few games. And then we've got Clara after that. Obviously, our top goal scorer at the moment is Jay Stansfield with 12 in the This Is League. Alfie May has 10, and Iwata has 5, and Williamson has got 5 now.
When was the last time we had so many goal scorers on that level?
I know. It's just showing you, isn't it? I mean, we obviously now that Louis Barry has gone back to Villa, chances are that either Alfie May or Jay Stansfield are going to win.
Certainly.
Or get the highest amount of goals.
Does that mean that Jay Stansfield's now top of the League One goal scoring table, or someone
No,
else?
no, it's still Louis Barry. Louis Barry will stay there because he's still got those goals.
Oh, of course,
in
yeah.
He's not going to go anywhere.
But what's he on there? 15?
15,
15,
yeah. I
yeah.
believe
Oh,
it's
he'll
15.
overtake that.
15 or 16, but yeah,
he'll overtake that.
And then assists. Williamson's got the most assists for our team. He's got 5. Keshi Anderson 4. Alfie May 4, and then Pake's got a couple as well. So basically, what I'm saying is that the stats are very, very good. It's been a really good half season so far, and if we maintain the type of form that we've shown in the first half of the season, we'll go up as champions.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I don't care whether we break it or not. I'd love to break the points record and go up as champions. That would be great, because it's kind of like a middle finger back to the people who keep referencing our money spent and all this sort of stuff. But I'll take a promotion any way it comes in my dad.
Me too.
And I would love to be champions, and the cherry on cake if we could get that points record.
Yeah, we've got to just to finish for me. We've got to absolutely crunch. Set of fixtures coming up over the next in January and in early February. So our next home game in the league is against Exeter. Then after that we have Wrexham away. Then Huddersfield away a few days later.
Yeah.
Then we've got Rotherham at home, and then Peterborough away.
Yeah.
So that once we'll know where we are.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Because especially the Wrexham and Huddersfield game, they're 6-pointers, aren't they?
Yeah.
But what did you say, Dad? Must not lose kind of games.
I think the teams are, because we've already beaten most of the teams around us once this season. So as long as we don't lose some of those return fixtures like the Wrexhams and the Huddersfields, that'll be absolutely
But the thing
fine.
is, we do better against the stronger teams.
They'll probably come out, and that's where we will do better.
I agree. I don't get worried about Wrexham and Huddersfield, and I get worried about Burton and Northampton and Shrewsbury because we're Blues, aren't we?
It's strange, isn't it? Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? And that's just the nature of football, unfortunately. But that's what we think, Blues fans. As you can see, myself and Matt are really, really pleased with the first half of the season. There have been a few bumps in the road, but we're top of the league. We're everything that we've spoken about in this podcast. Everything is pointing in the right direction. All we need to do now is keep it going. Of course, we've got January transfer window open at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see any changes the club decide to make to try and fill any gaps or maybe put players out on loan. So we'll see how that makes a difference as well. But overall, I think it's a big thumbs up from us, me and Matt, as Blues fans, and love to know your opinions, of course. And if you've got any answers, any responses to the questions that we've asked each other, and you've got different opinions, then please let us know in the comments below. If you did like this podcast, as always, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to watch or listen to your podcast on Spotify, you can also do that now. And you'll see the handles appearing on the screen for all of these channels right now. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want notifications when we put a podcast out, you just hit that little bell icon next to the subscribe button, and you'll get a little notification pop up every time that we put a new podcast out. So that's it for this podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. And myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.